ready.
Welcome to another episode of Buff in the Rough. Today we're going to talk to Randy Workman about ordering his Beagles out of the Farm and Dairy magazine as a Christmas present for his dad, favorite hounds, past and present, best hunting memories, and a whole lot more. Help me welcome Randy Workman to the program. Well, hey Randy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm better than I deserve. Well, thank you so much for taking time out to talk to us today about Beagles. And for folks that don't know who Randy Workman is, could you tell us maybe a little about yourself? And that could be anything. That could be what you do for fun, what you do outside of rabbit hunting. But really, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about how you got started in rabbit hunting.
Well, I'm Randy. I'm getting to be an old guy anymore, I guess. So I should have plenty of stories for you. I'm married. I have 2 kids. My wife and I are going on 40 years this year.
Wow.
She'll probably be happy to know that I even realize that. But it'll be 40 years here coming up in June. But with the 2 kids, and I have 2 grandkids. We still live on the family farm that my great-grandparents bought in like 39, I believe.
Wow.
And my dad actually was born in the house that he lives in. He was born in the house. So we've been here in this area forever. We moved away for a while when Dad was working, but when I was a wee little kid, moved back here when I was 16, and we've been here ever since. And moved back here on a family farm to help my great-grandparents. And when they passed away, we kind of got the farm, and we're still here.
Now, Randy, what kind of farming?
When we moved back, we had some cows. My great-granddad had sheep. He had probably 80 or 90 sheep. He had a couple of farms rented beside of him. He might have had more than that. So we had the sheep, and we had some beef cattle, and didn't really raise many crops, but we put up our own hay and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But now it's just, my dad had horses. He always was into ponies and the horses and pulled ponies. And I always did that when we were a kid, and he had me doing that all the time. But that just wasn't for me. That was too slow for me. He was driving horses down the road at 2 miles an hour, and I was going to do something faster, ride a dirt bike or something. But
now,
I have 35 steers. I buy 25 to 35 feeder steers a year, and just pasture them during the summer and sell them in the fall.
Well, the sheep that you have, are they meat, or are they for their wool, or both, or?
We had Suffolk. We also just shore the wool off of them and sold the wool, and when we got old, they just took them to auction and sold them. I don't know what they did with the dang sheep. I wasn't too into them things either.
So how did you get into the rabbit hunting side?
My mom was she had 13 in her family, so I had a ton of uncles. And between my dad having Beagles and my uncles having Beagles, I just was always coon hunting or running rabbit dogs with them. That's what we did on the weekends in the wintertime. And from the time I was 7 years old, that's what I did on the weekends. If it was hunting season, I was hunting with one of my uncles, and I just always loved running the dogs.
So now, tell me a little bit about hunting with your dad, because I think I remember the first time I met you, you guys both were at a hunt in, I want to say, Tennessee. Maybe it was Mountain City, and it was one of the bigger hunts. Maybe it was one of the eliminators or one of those bigger hunts. And I remember you having, I want to say it was a little blue-ticked female, and I can't remember her name. It may have been Dixie, or I'm not sure. But all I remember is the beat down you put on us, because she peeled to the left, and the rest of the cast hounds went down the hill. She went up the hill. She had first strike. She got her line, You pulled her off of her track, threw her in with ours, and then she took over that track too. I mean, the cast was over, and probably whether people realized it or not, I realized it, but the cast was over maybe the first 10 minutes because your dog had just dominated us. But I was thinking your dad was there too. But you guys
I'm not
are
sure
kind
the
of a
cast
team.
you're talking about. I'm guessing the way you said she peeled off by herself, I'm assuming it was a Dixie. If it was it a real open white marked, open color blue tick?
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been Dixie. That's the one I lost at the Pennsylvania State on just a really unfortunate accident there.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that because she certainly was a nice
She did
hound.
really well for me.
We'll talk through the relationship with your dad and how you guys work together or hunt together.
He's getting down on me. His knees are bad, so right now he's not able to hunt at all. But we got back into these things. We got out of them for a long time. We got back into them. He retired, and he wanted a Beagle to get back into running dogs and just run this and no dog run. So I bought him one out of Farm and Dairy for Christmas present, and that was a dog named Jackie. And a couple years later, I said, "This is just boring going out and rabbit hunting with one dog." So I called the same guy back out of that Farm and Dairy, and he had two blue ticks. That was Duke and Daisy. I went and bought them for me, and his dad met a guy named Terry Limley that invited us to come to try these dogs in hunts, and he talked Dad into talking me into going, and we went to a hunt, and Duke and Daisy held up pretty good in the hunt, and they did all right, and so me and him have been doing it ever since, and we raised a few pups now, and Dad really loved it. He was getting to the point where he was a little bit too old to work with the ponies as much as he used to, but he could do the dogs. So me and him started traveling, and I think I counted up the other day that we've been to 10 states together, and I've been to 12 states in the last 6 or 7 years in these hunts.
That's a great story. That's some great time with your dad too over the years. I was going to ask you how long you've been doing it. So 6 or 8 years, something like that.
Duke and Daisy were born. I have Duke's papers right here. I can look at his date. He was born in I think 2015. I believe it was.
Well, that's
And,
fairly
when they were
recent.
about 18 months old is when we went to the first one.
So you ordered.
I think it was the spring of 2016. I think.
So Randy, you ordered these dogs out of a magazine, or that's how you found them?
No. My dad used to get a magazine called Farm and Dairy, and he just saw an ad in there for Beagles for sale, and he wanted one for Christmas, and I knew that he had looked at that ad and saw them, so I kind of had Mom steal me the magazine off of him, and I called the guy up, and the guy was about a 2-hour drive away out in Ohio, and he said he had 2 left, and I said, well, I'm going to come out and look at them. My dad wants one for Christmas, so I went out and looked at them, and I bought him one, and that was our first dog when we got back into it.
And you still have the dogs you hunt today, are they out of those dogs or related to those dogs?
Yeah, they all are. Duke and Daisy were the 2 blue ticks I bought. The original Jackie female I bought, I bred Duke to Jackie, and that was the Dixie female that you ran against. She was out of them. And I actually just bred Daisy. I got 3 pups out of her right now that are 9 months old. I did breed her to a dog out in Ohio. It's an AKC dog named Zeus. Daisy's my baby, and I couldn't find a dog in UKC that I liked. I mean, not putting anybody's dogs down. Every dog I ran against, I saw them and I liked them, but it just wasn't what I wanted to cross to. And I heard good things about this dog, and I never wanted to run with him because I figured if I did, I'd see something I didn't like about him too. So I'll just send her out and breed her, and that way I don't know what I'm breeding to, and I'll see what I get.
Well, speaking of good hounds and some of your favorite hounds, could you talk through maybe some of your favorite hounds that you've personally owned and hunted? I know we talked about Dixie just mentioned her, but could you talk about some of your favorites that you guys have had?
I used to have a coon dog named Ace. He was a good one. I never night hunted very much. I did night hunt a few times, and I took him to 4 or 5 probably hunts, and I think he won every cast he was in. and that was with me being a dumb handler that didn't know nothing about it way back in the late '80s.
What kind of dog was he? I
And
mean, what breed of coonhound was he?
he was a walker, treeing walker.
Okay. Do you remember?
I had a cousin named Tony David Duck. A lot of guys, if everybody's on here listening that run coon dogs and still run coon dogs, they probably know Tony. He had won the world out one year, but he had a dog named Wild Clover. He ran a dog from a guy named Lee Logan, I think, that had Wild Clover, and this dog was out of him, and Tony had bred him.
Weren't those dogs?
He would have been a heck of a dog.
Randy, weren't those dogs really open spotted too?
Yep. There was the ace dog I had was pretty much black and white. He had hardly any brown on him at all. I don't think he did have any brown.
You know, I always heard good things about the clover bred dogs, but living down where I live, I just never really had a chance to hunt with maybe one ever, and they did a nice job. But we just didn't have many around here.
Yeah, Tony did well with that dog when he trialed him, and yeah, I knew he had a lot of pups that was good out of that dog. I mean, I just bought him to be a hide hunter. I was going out and killing coon. I didn't care about the trials, but I did run him in a few.
Well, other than your good coonhound, what about your beagles? What were some of your favorite beagles?
When I was probably 16 or 17 was when I got my own beagles. I had one named Jackie. That's kind of the reason we named the one I got Dad for Christmas, Jackie. I liked her when I had her. She was a pretty good dog. I had another one I ran with her. It was Samantha. She wasn't as good a dog, but as a pair, they made a good pair of rabbit dogs. And I never trialed them or anything. They were just gun dogs, but they would circle rabbits and did a pretty good job. But as far as rabbit dogs and having good ones, those are probably the only good rabbit dogs we ever had. Some of my uncles had some decent ones, but we just had dogs. They weren't anything special.
And I think you're being modest, because I know you've certainly won your share of cast out in the competition world. Which brings me to another question. As you've been out there competing, and you've been you mentioned how many states that you've been to?
I think I've hunted in 12 states. I went to trials in 10.
Okay.
And when I was in Indiana, I went to the Indiana hunt. I think it was the World Hunt, when I was in Indiana. My cast went to Michigan. So I'm counting that I hunted in Michigan, but I was actually hunting out of Indiana, but went into Michigan. And I went in a hunt, I think it was Rising Sun Beagle Club in Maryland. And our dogs crossed this road and crossed the state line into Delaware.
Well, that counts.
So we were standing in Delaware, so I counted it.
You should. So you've been all over the country hunting in these hunts. I know you've seen some good hounds. What are some of the better hounds that you've competed against? Ones that really caught your eye and put on a good show on the particular cast you were on that day?
I knew you was going to ask me this question, and I hate to name dogs because there's been a pile of them. But dogs that I remember that caught my eye, and you got the ones that you're going to know. Trevor with his Kane and Chief dog. Those two dogs have won enough stuff that everybody knows them, I think. I drew Kane a bunch of times. Chief, I only drew him a couple times, but Kane, I drew that dog a bunch, and that dog just has an act for going and jumping a rabbit. He was going to go jump you a rabbit somewhere, no matter what the other dogs do. And Sir Mongo, he's won everything. He's just fast. He just had all kinds of foot. And I actually probably the weekend that you drew Dixie is probably when she made it to the finals of the Eliminator. And it got down to Dixie, Mongo, and the Flame dog. And Mongo beat me with Dixie. Mongo and Flame were about to eat minus, and Dixie jumped the rabbit, and then Mongo three-lined it, first lined on all three lines and went from them eating a minus to Mongo outrunner. But he's a heck of a dog. Just all kinds of foot. And Jake Coons is a soul collector. I liked him. And Josh Ware, if you draw Josh Ware, anything he brings, it's going to run a rabbit. And he knows the score and knows what he needs to happen, and it seems to happen for him. If he's behind, something's going to happen that he needs to happen, and his dog pulls it out. It's just he's a tough guy to beat with whatever dog he has.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, to name dogs, that's the ones I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
The Smiths in West Virginia. I don't know if you know the Smiths in West Virginia. Rick Smith and Alvy and Chad. That's I believe it's two brothers and one son. Mm-hmm. They just always have a good dog. Pedro or whatever they bring, they're good.
Mm-hmm. Well, in addition to being able to hunt all across the country and getting to see some really good hounds go, I know you've had to see some interesting things. Could you maybe share some of your favorite memories or experiences in some of these hunts? Any hunts that stood out to you? And that could be yourself, a big win for you, or it could just be something really crazy happened in your cast that you remember.
Probably what I consider my biggest win is when Daisy got second in the world hunt. That was in Missouri, and I believe it was 2019. And just had some breaks. It was really dry weather, and Daisy's not the fastest dog in the world, but she can run a good solid track in about any conditions. And it was super, super dry. And all these racehorse dogs just were coming back with minuses, and she was just coming back with plus points in every cast and winning every cast and made it to the finals. And during the night, it poured down rain all night and went from dry weather to great running conditions, and she got beat in the finals. But it was really close, and that was probably my most exciting hunt I've had. And it's just I've actually done better in the eliminators than any hunts I've ever had as far as my record in the eliminators. They've been good, but just being in the finals of the world hunt was just totally different. It was just, I mean, I wasn't nervous. I was just myself out there, but once it was over, I was just second in the world. I mean, it was just like a big deal to me.
Well, that is a big deal.
My biggest accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And probably the funniest thing I've ever saw, and it happened at Doe Valley with Josh Ware. I got knocked out. I wasn't even in the hunt anymore. But I was asked to run a dog. Carl Miller from up New York got two dogs through, and he could only run one. Never heard the dog before. He wanted me to run it. I said, yeah, if I don't run it, it's not going to get ran, so I might as well do it for you. I didn't know the dog. I'm getting beat. And we turned the dogs loose again, and they were running a rabbit. Josh needed first strike. He needed me to strike second, and the other dog to strike third, plus the points, whatever. I don't know how it worked out points-wise, but he knew how it needed to work out. Things worked out for him. Josh won the cast. But the strange thing that happened on that cast was dogs ran a rabbit down into the woods, out of the pine trees, across. They were coming up the other side. We're watching for a rabbit to come out of the woods on the other side and back into the pines. And a coyote come out carrying a rabbit. And Josh was like, look, there's a coyote. He's got a rabbit. I'm like, that thing is carrying a rabbit. You're right. The dogs came to within 20 yards of where that coyote came out carrying a rabbit, broke down the track, was in a loss. What do? Do you minus the dogs, or do you give it a place of refuge? What do you do for the coyote carrying the rabbit around that the dogs were probably running?
That is a crazy story.
It was just unbelievable. We didn't know what to do.
I don't know what you do. Do you remember what you did?
I think they said, how could you give them a place of refuge? Because you don't know for sure that was the rabbit, and there was no hole over there. So.
Oh, that is a good story.
Yep, it was the strangest thing I ever saw on a cast.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of, I didn't realize you had finished second in the world. That's a big deal. Those hunts, these bigger hunts, we mentioned the Eliminator and the World. A lot of these state hunts are multi-day hunts. They're tough. They're really tough. You have to have a hound ready for a hunt like that. You might be lucky and get through one round, but you need a pretty good hound to make it to that final cast. What do you do to get your hound ready for a big hunt? I mean, is there any special things that you do leading up to the hunt?
I'm going to tell you that I don't do that much special. I would love to solo dogs more. I don't do it enough. My dad, the younger dogs we're running now, he was soloing the Buzz dog. He was soloed him a good bit. But Duke and Daisy, when I had them, they were ran as a pair all the time, and I just took them like I was gun hunting and ran them 2 or 3 times a week when they were young, and I still do the same. I don't like soloing. I I do solo young dogs a little bit just to make them run a rabbit, but they got to do it on their own too. But maybe that's why I've never got first. Maybe that's why I'm always second to fifth. I mean, I don't know, but I just go run them. I try to give them a couple hours a day, 3-4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Three if I can get it, 4 if it's even possible. But I always seem to do good at the eliminator, and I think maybe that's because it's winter time, and in the winter I don't get to run any during the week, and I just run Saturday and Sunday all day long. I mean, my dad always tells people, if you're coming to go hunt with Randy, if you want to go home before dark, you drive yourself.
Yeah.
You start at daylight, and Randy's coming back after dark. So if you want to leave before dark, you just drive yourself. That's what I do in the wintertime.
Now, Randy, you live in Pennsylvania, is that right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, could you talk a little bit about what the terrain is like where you live? Is it hills, mountains, flat? Do you have a lot of water? Is it thick? I mean, tell us a little bit about the kind of terrain you hunt in. And could you describe what kind of dog it takes to be successful where you live? What do you need in a dog to be a good beagle where you live?
It's a little bit hilly. When the flatlanders come here, they call them mountains, but it's not mountains. We're just I think our average elevation is like 1,200 feet above sea level. Mm-hmm. It is I don't know, a lot of it, most of it you can get over with a tractor. Some of it need a 4-wheel drive tractor, but I mean, you can get over most of the ground here with a tractor. It's hilly, not much water. I mean, you just have the hollows and the creeks going down through, but most of them are just, you can jump over them or step across most of them. There's some that are bigger, but most of the places I hunt are just little. And the briars, and we have my cover, my spots anyway, are mostly, I don't know, it's a lot of blackberry briars and red briars and multiflora rose, and it's just, I mean, I have these 9-month-old pups, and their tails are just raw already from the briars, and into their tails, it's just thick, thorny briars, and you need a dog that will go in them and slow down and go through them. I mean, some of those fast dogs that I named a little bit ago, I have got lucky enough to beat some of them in this cover, and I think it's because the cover slows them down, and they, that just slows them down, and the dogs that will go through that and is used to going through it just can excel in that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always think about, and I say it a lot, the briar patch is the great equalizer when it comes to speed. You got to slow down to get through them and work those tracks. Now, I know you've been successful. I know you're being very modest, but what advice would you give someone that maybe is a beagler? Maybe they're just pleasure hunters, but they've heard about field trials and they've considered going to one. What kind of advice would you give to anyone considering going and entering in a competition hunt?
Go in with an open mind and just go try it. I mean, that's what I did. I just wanted to see how my dogs stacked up, and if they didn't stack up, they were what I liked. So if I went to the trial and they didn't fit, I wouldn't have kept going. I'd have just done something else and continued gun hunting. I have the dogs I like. If you're running what you like and it don't fit the trials and don't fit the rules, don't do it. You run what you like. I mean, try it if you like it and your dogs fit it. That's what you do. If you like the style of dogs you have, don't change styles just to fit in these trials. I mean, I'm running my gun dogs, and they happen to be good enough to be competitive in these trials, so I kept doing them. Mm-hmm.
Well, I love that. I love that you trial and gun hunt the same dogs. I love that. So as you,
I've told different people that if I have to change dogs to trial, I'll quit trialing. I mean, that's the style of dog I like, and if I can't go out and walk around and shoot rabbits and let the dogs hunt with me and go with me and try to handle good and be a good gun dog, I don't need to win a trial. I like the dogs to hunt with me and listen to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got another question, and you're a perfect person to ask this, especially given that you've hunted in so many places across the country. But do you have a favorite, or maybe it's a couple favorite clubs that you like to go to when you get a chance, or do you have a favorite part of the country that you like to go hunt in?
Probably Doe Valley. I like going down there hunting those pine trees. My dogs aren't the fast. Well, Reba, she's pretty fast down there, and Buzz, he would do good down there. He's just our young dog we got. He would do good down there, but Daisy, she didn't fit down there. But I really like Mountain City. I like hunting them pine trees and the views down there. Whether you're running good rabbits or not, you don't come on the mountains down there. It's just, what makes a difference whether these dogs are running a rabbit or not? Look what I'm looking at. It's just nice down there.
I find myself taking a lot of pictures when I'm on top of the mountains hunting. It's just, you couldn't ask for a more beautiful backdrop while you're out there hunting. I totally agree. Well, let me ask you kind of a different question. And this is one that I've been thinking about adding to the list of questions to ask people. But if you could put together a cast of 4 different Beagles that you would like to see go, and these could be your own dogs, it could be a combination of dogs that are alive or dead, maybe dogs you never hunted with but you'd like to see go. But if you could put together a cast of 4 dogs that you'd really like to see compete against each other, past or present, what dogs would you put in that cast?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a loaded one, I know. I've really been studying on that one, Randy.
I don't know. I don't know. A couple of them are gone. My Dixie female, I'd really like to see her go against anything. She just fit the rules of UKC and wasn't going to eat minus, and she could run a track. I got to think of old dogs. I'm not thinking of any of the young ones coming up. So you put Dixie in there, might as well throw Soul and Mongo and just throw another one in there. Pick one. Kane. Throw Kane in.
That would make a pretty good cast. I'd like to see that one go myself.
Yeah. Might as well throw all the big names in there and then throw the little old ugly blue tick out of Pennsylvania in there against them.
I thought she did a great job when she whooped up on us. She was a good one for me. To be honest, she wasn't my favorite rabbit dog. Duke and Daisy, as far as I'm concerned, to go out and shoot rabbits, Duke and Daisy are better rabbit dogs than her in the wintertime and the bad weather or whatever. But Dixie just fit the rules, and she could move the rabbit, and she would cheat a little bit if she had to, and she just fit the rules. Well, Randy, you mentioned, didn't you just say you just bred your, was it Daisy?
Yeah.
Female? When do those puppies get here, or are they already here?
She already has, she had 4 that lived, and they're 9 months old.
Oh, okay.
So I ran them last night. I took the 3 of them together. You asked me how I train pups. I mean, I tried to solo them, but last night I came home and I couldn't leave 2 of them there and take the other one, so I took all 3 of them last night, and I don't know, I ran till about 7 probably. A little after dark. I was up there a little after dark.
Well, you read my mind, because that's what I was going to ask you. Do you start your own pups? Do you send them to a training pen? Do you just turn them out with your other dogs? Do you have a pup trainer, maybe an older dog that's a little slower? How do you get them started?
I've done both. We've started our own different times. The last couple litters that we've raised, Dad and I've raised, we send them to Dave Kerr to a training pen, give him 2 weeks with them. And the only reason we do that is he can put them on more rabbit scent in an hour than I can put them on in 2 days. I mean, the guy has an amazing training pen out there. There's just rabbits everywhere. And you go back in 2 weeks and he walks you around and he'll be running rabbits if they're going to run rabbits. And then you just bring them home and put them in the briars after that. And he already has them a little bit started and makes it a lot easier. Just it saves you some time on trying to jump a rabbit for the pup.
Well, Randy, is there, as we wrap up, is there anything that I didn't ask you about that I should have, or is there anything we didn't cover that you want to talk about?
Not really. I don't think. Maybe just tell the Waynesburg Beagle Club that they let me help them do these hunts, and those guys are, they let us have. We're going to have the HBA days. We're going to have the Pennsylvania State hunt now. We have the Limley Memorial, and those little guys down there at the club. You bring up having one of these hunts, they're gung ho. Go ahead and do it. And they just let us go ahead and have these hunts. And the Pennsylvania State hunt, I mean, if I put in a plug for it, it's happened with Dixie. Nothing against those guys out there. They had no idea. It wasn't their fault. Nothing happened out there. But when that happened, that club just didn't want to have the state hunt anymore, and they wanted it to come here because of what happened. And
Randy,
so
I know
we're
that
going to have the state hunt.
I know that may be hard to talk about, but for people that don't know what happened with Dixie, is that something you want to share? Or if you don't, that's fine.
It is hard to talk about. We were hunting on a public walking trail where the guy that guided us there, well, he sent us there. Another guy actually guided us, but they sent us down there, and she got caught in a man trap with a coney bear. I mean, just killed her instantly. She had an illegal trap and right along a public walking trail.
I'm so sorry to hear that. And
so, yeah, it's still a little bit of a sore subject, and not sure what's going to happen with that. But the guy that had the trap, he's in a little bit of trouble, but hasn't really been nothing done yet. So not sure what's going to happen there totally.
Well, I certainly hope you get some justice for that. That's just a tragic story. It's hard to lose any hound.
There's nothing you can do. I mean, there's nothing you can do. I would like for the guy to realize that you can't do that, and if it ever goes to do anything else, a court hearing or whatever, I don't want to do that. But if it does, and I win, it would be something that, hey, that guy lost a little bit of money and lost some monetary value. Don't do this. Why would we want to set a trap out there and risk that happening? You're responsible for that trap.
Well, Randy, aside from Dixie being a good hound, these hounds not only are part of our family. I've got a feeling you don't keep a whole bunch of hounds, but for most folks, these hounds are part of your family. You don't want to lose them for that reason alone. But I mean, you spend a lot of time with them, but they're valuable too. I mean, those high caliber hounds are very valuable. Dollar-wise, they're very valuable. So I hope you do get something happens for you. But thank you for sharing that, and we'll move on because I know that's hard to talk about. So is Waynesburg your club that your home club or?
Yeah, Waynesburg Club is 35 minutes from me. And I joined that club when Randy Moore started going down there and doing that, and he wanted me to help him, so I joined the club down there. And then Justin Schaefer has what they call the Full Circle Beagle Club. It's actually only about 15 minutes from my house, and I help him. I mean, Justin runs all the stuff, and I go over and help him a little bit. And then there's a couple other local clubs that I go to that they're right here close to, but. But Waynesburg is probably, I guess I would consider that my club, I guess.
Well, that's a really nice club. I was fortunate enough to hunt in the World Hunt a couple years back and got to hunt right there at the club. And what a beautiful place to hunt. And it seemed like everybody came back with plus scores. And there were a lot of casts that went out. Just fantastic running up there where you guys are. Kind of jealous.
Yeah, we do have a lot of good spots. Where I've lost a few. Guys have come in and leased them up for deer hunting and stuff, and I've lost a couple of my spots, but there's still a lot of good running around here. I'm fortunate enough that my dad and we've lived here forever, so a lot of the farmers know us, and I can get permission on a lot of private farms that just go up and knock on the door and say, hey. I live over here. Tell them who I am. Oh yeah, we knew all. We rode your great granddad's school bus. Yep, you can ride. Yeah, you can hunt here. So I'm very fortunate that way.
Well, Randy, as we wrap up, I did want to ask you, as you in the trial season, as we're recording this, has just started. We're through the Eliminator weekend and getting ready to start on some other things now. But what hound or hounds will you be pushing this year? What are you going to be campaigning?
I'm probably going to run Reba and Buzz. Duke and Daisy are both 8 years old. They're beyond the prime. Duke, he has Lyme disease. He's not able to do much anymore. Daisy, she can still go and win a cast. And Duke can still win a cast, but he just can't win more than one. Mm-hmm. He's going to be wore out after one. But Reba, she's 6 going on 7. Mm-hmm. And Buzz is her pup. Buzz is out of her. He's 2. That's probably the 2 I'm going to have to run in the trials. They aren't very high maintenance, so as long as I can get them 1 day a week or a couple days a week, a little bit of running, they'll be fine. They're not going to be ran a lot with Dad being down because he runs them for me, and I've been trying to run the pups, but I lost my help with Dad being down, so it's going to be tough for me to run hunts and be very competitive this year. It's going to be hard. It
is very difficult to do it by yourself. That is a fact.
It is.
It seems like a lot of folks are figuring it out. If you team up with a group of folks, and that way, if you miss a weekend or you have something planned, somebody can hunt the dog for you, or you know how it goes. I mean, there's strength in numbers when it comes to some of these folks working together. But Randy, thank you so much for taking time out to talk about your hounds, how you got started, and just your opinions on what it takes to be competitive and training and just really sharing your story with us. I really do appreciate you taking out the time to talk to us.
All righty. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Buff in the Rough. And remember to like and subscribe if you want to be notified when we have new content available. And please send comments and suggestions to buffintherough@gmail.com.